know what it is. This unique Mecca audio, man. I'm down here on my little tour, seeing all the good brothers that had life and came home off of life sentences. And now I'm down here in Portsmouth area. They got brother Tony Jones, and so that's where we at, you know.
Yeah. So hey, how everybody doing? My name is Tony Jones. You know, I'm from Portsmouth, you know, originally, and I'm here unique. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about, you know, some important things.
So you was raised here all your life?
Raised here all my life.
All right. So I've been asking everybody since I came down here, because I want to know what was it like, as far as what did you see growing up? How was your lifestyle down here growing up? Your upbringing? What was your upbringing like?
So my stepdad, you know, he was in the military. At first we lived in the project. We lived in Dale's home, and my mother remarried to my stepdad. You know, he was in the military, and we moved into like a middle class neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What was your upbringing like in that middle class neighborhood?
At that time, you know, we stayed around a bunch of, you know, white people, a little bit of black people, and you know, I was just a little kid, just, you know, trying to fit in, man, you know. But that's how I was raised in that middle class neighborhood, you know, going, you know, watching my brother. I got an older brother that's 5 years older than me, you know, just looking at him, you know, as a role model, and then looking at my dad as a role model, just trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, but all that sounds real good and cushy. Mm-hmm. But now I want to ask you, what was you convicted of, and what did you go to jail for? Because you make it sound like it was rosy and nothing going on, but yet you just had a life sentence.
So yeah, exactly. So growing up, you know, watching my brother sold drugs, and at the same time my brother was getting high, and at that time, you know, we didn't really. It looked like we had a nice living, but at the same time we were just making ends meet, you know. And at the time, you know, I remember one year, my mother was like, it was time to go time to get school clothes. And she was like, oh, baby, I haven't got no money this year to buy me no school clothes. I'm like, what? What do you mean? This is 2 days for school. And she was like, I don't got no money. But at the same time, she was buying my sister some clothes. And ever since that day, man, I was like 13 years old. I was like, I'll never let my mother put me in a predicament to go back to school with no school clothes. And I was hot. When I would say hot, I was hot, man. And I took that on the chin. Ever since then, I never asked my mother for no money. And then from there, I just started hustling in the neighborhood, you know, cutting grass. But then when I would watch out, every now and then, my brother would let me see him doing what he's doing.
How old was you now?
I was still like 13 years old. And as I was seeing him going to projects, you know what I mean, I seen my brother one day rob a dude right in front of me, you know, and I was like, this dude crazy, man. But at the same time, it's just like all the kids my age looked up to my brother, you know, so they felt like everything he was doing was legit, you know what I mean? So that's how, you know, we just started hanging out in the projects, you know, and from there, man, I just started selling RonG. And from there, it's like I was hiding it from my mother. You know, my mother didn't have a clue what I was doing because I couldn't keep no money in the house. You know, I couldn't do anything that to give her a clue to draw the attention that what I was doing. You know, and she didn't know.
So you were selling heroin at 13, and mom didn't know?
I was selling heroin, man. I was going out of Barbara, man. And you know, first of all, I would ask my brother. I said, man, let me get some work, man, so I can make some money. He was like, hell, no, I ain't giving you nothing. What you talking about? You know, and at the same time, this was happening. So what I was doing, I was take his clothes and put his clothes on, and he'd catch me with his clothes on. I would say, I don't got no school clothes. You know what I mean? He was like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah. You see, mom ain't buying me no school clothes. What you think I'm gonna do? Go to school looking crazy? So he like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? But he still wouldn't commit to looking out. Then one day he was like, all right, I'm gonna give you this. Bring me my money back. Don't fuck my money up. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? That's how he talked to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I'm just giving you verbatim what he said.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, all right, cool. And that's when it started. You know, from there. From there it moved on up, and then from there I was like, yo, I gave him his little money, but he really wasn't a man because, like I said, he was getting high too. You know what I mean? So I seen the money that I was making. Remember, I can't really spend it for real. You know what I mean? So therefore, I was saving money just to the point that I say, I got enough money, I can go buy my own stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm 15 years old now. Yeah. So you can imagine a little 15-year-old dude.
You was feeding his habit, basically.
Feeding his habit, but at the same time, I got my money. He don't know how much money I got, but he knows. Yeah, right.
Feeding his habit.
Exactly.
But you stacking your money.
Right.
You ain't got nothing to spend it on.
Exactly.
And he's just doing it to just get high.
Exactly.
And give you something else to run with.
Exactly.
And know that what he give you is going to pay for that so he can party with this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They'll say, no, that's the old two-step.
Yep, that's all you. Exactly.
You know, it's like a dance.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
A fake-ass dance.
A fake dance.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's messed up because this is the big homies that we looking up there. That's supposed to be the big homies.
Mm-hmm.
And they making reckless moves like that. So, you know, I know exactly how he's feeling, you know what I mean? 'Cause I was disappointed about my big homies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, nothing major, but, you know, I was definitely disappointed.
Right.
And I shouldn't have no disappointment to my big homie.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So how did you step it up to wind up getting a life sentence?
So at the time, I kept, you know, I started saving money, and then my brother ended up going to prison. So there I got money now. I did the project. I got a little name for myself because everybody knew me of my brother. You know, my brother.
So your brother went to prison.
Right.
So what happened when your brother went to prison?
So my brother went to prison, and I got some money now. I got some change. So I just started looking for work. Started looking for some dope to buy and to resell it, you know, and go from there. And I did it, you know. And it was just so, money speaks volumes. Because you know when a kid come in the room, they say, yo, I'm trying to buy such and such grams or something. So they're looking at you like, what? Mm-hmm. Well, when that money come out, oh, this little joke ain't playing. Yeah. You know, and to be so young, and then you know my vocabulary and my words, the older men like, yo, the dude's serious, yo. And from there, I just kept on going up and up and up. But same time, I can't spend no money for real.
And how old was you then?
So 14, 15 years old.
Okay, see, because yesterday I interviewed the homie from Yon's Park, and he was the same. He said the exact same story you just said.
Yep.
As far as about, you know, little dude go in there, and you know, they look at him like he a kid when he walk in, but when that money come out, it speak volumes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I want them to understand that back then, money ain't had no face, it had no age, it ain't had no nothing. You know what I mean? Money just get you what you want.
Exactly.
You know, that was America.
Exactly.
You know?
And you know, when you talking to dudes 30 years old, 20 years old, and so on and so forth, when you breaking out $1,000 and $2,000, and they looking like this little joker. They know for a fact he got to be somebody to come out with $1,000, and he just this young, or more than that. Like, yo, this little kid serious. And ever since then, the respect level went sky high, and they never treated me like no kid. They never brushed me off or nothing. When I spoke, they listened, and ever since they was like, whatever you need, youngster, I got you. And it was on from there.
Okay, so what was your actual charge?
So I got a conspiracy charge to sell crack cocaine and a distribution charge, and I had a gun charge. That was the three counts I had.
Okay, so what was the most expensive, let's say, car you brought?
Lexus Coupe, Land Cruiser. Those was my two babies. You know what I mean? At the time was what I spent. I spent like $40,000 to $50,000 for the Lexus Coupe. And I probably spent about 40 for the Land Cruiser back in those times. Yeah.
Okay, would you put rims on and all that too?
The Lexus, I ain't put no rims on it. The Land Cruiser, stuff like that, you leave it like it is, you know, because they brand new jump. But back in the day, like the Acura Legend and Sol, you know, you put rims and stuff on that stuff, you know what I mean? Because, you know, that was the thing to do back then. Okay,
I asked that because you went right into about your charge. And your charge sounded too simple.
Yeah.
To me, sitting as a layman, like, tell them what you just said your charge was.
Conspiracy to sell crack cocaine. And this charge carries from 10 to life. And the time I was arrested, you know, I was 23 years old. And I didn't even have a clue what they were telling me. Like, you know, this charge is carried to 10 to life. I was like, okay, but y'all didn't catch me with nothing. You just picked me up. And I didn't know the seriousness of it until at sentencing. You know, when my lawyer was saying, basically saying, you know, Yana, because of this, you know, we looking for this and so, but the judge said this, and I knew it was serious. He said, no matter what you say, he's gonna get a life sentence today. And when he said that, that's when everything closed in. You know, and mind you is, I didn't even have no criminal history. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no criminal history. I had one run-in with it.
How old was you?
At the time, I was 23 years old.
Okay.
And I had one run-in with the police. The police actually put drugs on me. I was like 18, 19 years old. Because I remember I never got arrested with drugs on me. But the police were so vicious at the time. Because I was young, I was driving around with my Legend and so on and so forth. They always think black people, you know, driving dirty. But I never drove dirty. So this one particular time, he pulled me over, and he asked me for a license, gave him a license, and next thing you know, he's like, I said, I'm not signing no tickets. And next for that, he just took me downtown. And he took me downtown, long story short, he told me, oh, I found this in the back of my cruiser. I said, you put that there. I said, you searched me before you put me in your car, and you put handcuffs on me. So how am I gonna put some drugs in the seat? Don't even make sense. So that's the only charge I got, and the only charge, I ain't had nothing else, man. And
Did you get convicted of that?
Nah, actually, my lawyer told me to plead guilty to a first offenders program, meaning that you be on probation for a year, and then if you do that for a year, then they'll expunge it. But actuality, that was the case, because when I went through the federal system, that came right back up.
To hurt you?
They hurt me.
Yeah, I know. We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into that. But finish the story.
Yeah.
Talking about the cars, you had the rims. I want to paint the picture.
Yeah, so, you know, at the time I had two Acura Legends, a Saab. You know, this was in the 90s. You know, these were the things where, you know, the people like that was hustling, we drove the Acura Legends, the Saabs, and things like that. That was a thing right then. Yeah.
Okay. So the point I'm making here again is he was getting money.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was getting money. So just because he was getting money, he ain't say nothing about no violence and nothing. You know?
Nope.
Right? Any violence?
When you think about it, you know, at the time.
Was he charged or convicted with any violence?
No.
Okay. So
Zero.
he was never charged or convicted with any violence? Okay.
Violence, no.
So that's the point that I'm making. He wasn't charged or convicted of no violence, so he ain't got no violence in his criminal history. You know what I mean? Just the one charge that he talked about.
Yep.
And that warranted a life sentence.
Yep.
You know? Because what was the original weight of that?
What's that?
The amount that they said.
Man, the thing about it, remember when the police came back and said, I found this in my car, he never showed me anything. So when I went to court, my lawyer said he found something like 2 point something grand. I'm like, what is that? Cause I don't even know, that's something I didn't even know what you're talking about. He's like, I'm saying myself, it gotta be like like a user's amount. Like somebody was in that car before I was, or this police found these drugs somewhere, and then you see, no, I'm putting them on him because we can't never get him with nothing. So it had to be something like a 20 or something like that. Yeah, yep. And messed me up like that, man. I was hot.
Okay, so how much drugs you was charged with on the charge that got you life sentence?
They charged me for 23 keys of invisible drugs. No 20-some keys was on that table of all testimony.
But you was charged with what, 50 grams or more?
50 grams or more.
Well, let's tell them that. It was charged with 50 grams or more. They turned that 50 grams or more into 23 kilos.
I'm glad you said that. So in your indictment, it says that you are being charged with 50 grams or more, meaning that that's it. Meaning that 50 grams or more, but it's so vague that means that it's saying that 50 grams or more, but it's the actuality, just what I was convicted of, was 50 grams or more. Because you remember, when we was in, that was the threshold of convicting you on. The jury said, yeah, we found out, we even though we don't have, now this is what the judge's instruction said. He said, you don't have to find a defendant on a specific amount of drugs. He said, only a detectable amount. He said, you can find them all. So that tricked the jury of saying, okay, I think he might have had some drugs. But when they said convicted, then the prosecutor came back and said, well, Your Honor, we taking this overact, this overact, this overact, this overact, and it came all the way up to a key and a half, and the key and a half took me to a level 38. Then they gave me 4 points for leadership, and then 2 points for having a firearm. And they gave me to a life sentence.
So how much drugs was it? 23 keys or a key and a half?
Wait, remind you, they charge you with the overall with.
I understand the 50 grams.
Yeah, but it's 1 key and a half. 1 key and a half is all they need to take you to a 38.
Okay, so that's all they use. They didn't use the 23.
They didn't. No, but they actually put in your pre-sentence report.
Okay, so they put it in there.
Right.
Okay, and they just put where it cut off at.
Right.
Boom, this is life. Forget everything else.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
So we got that, but that's how easy it is for them to calculate the crap and take our lives away, man. Just from him out there getting money. Yeah, he was getting a lot of money. I wanted him to save, so it's not trying to hide nothing. He was driving Lexuses and all that, you know. We was all getting money back then, you know. But we were still paying taxes on stuff when we went in Macy's.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like everybody else.
Exactly.
But it's just crazy that they give out so much time for that. Because how much time did you do?
I did 20 years. 20 years. I went in at 1997. And I got on in 2016, end of 2016, September, October. That's when I got out.
You see?
It's 20 years. All that.
With no violence, no none, just getting money.
And I've seen, you know, the Murdochs and all of them with real money. You know, dudes that they get less time than that before they got fed up with it.
Exactly.
And way more money than all of us put together.
Exactly.
But they criminal activity.
I don't get no time like that. None. None.
So what it felt like when you're in front of the judge getting sentenced?
Oh man, you know, when he said that, you know, the defendant getting a life sentence today, you know, I just feel like a life sentence. You know, you couldn't even fathom life sentence. You know, and my mother back there crying, and my dad back there, you know, my family, you know, a couple people just, you know, back there. I couldn't even fathom it, man, you know. But, you know, I just knew when I watched all the guys that came in and told them, I said, I'd never be like these dudes, man. You know what I mean? Some of them dudes making up stories and some dudes, you know, telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy, man, that nobody should ever put themselves in that predicament, man. Never. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all.
Mm-hmm. So, what happened when you went to prison? What happened when he said you have life with no chance of parole?
When he said the defendant is sentenced to two life sentences without the possibility of parole, and I was like, what in the world? You know what I mean? Like what?
You got to be talking to somebody else.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Like who else in here?
And I was just like, man, I just put my head down, man, and put my head up like, what? But then at the same time, man, I just knew I just couldn't. I wasn't gonna. I said, man, I just forget. I told everybody who, man, y'all just leave me alone. Don't write me, and I ain't calling. Just let me figure this out in my head, you know, because I wasn't gonna try to put somebody else's problem with people from the streets trying to say this and say this. Like, what you doing? What you doing? Man, listen, I'm doing time, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I gotta learn the law. I'm trying to listen to people who've been in, you know, how to make this thing happen. What you need to do. Youngster, come 20-some years old, you know. So I was just like. Just trying to figure it out, man, and I just didn't want to talk to nobody. Until my mom cussed me out a couple of times because I wasn't calling, you know. But just trying to figure it out, you know, trying to figure it out.
That's good, though, man. So once you went in, how did your bid begin?
Yeah.
Was it smooth, hard? Was you angry?
Yeah, when I first got going to Petersburg and then going to Atlanta, you know, because I'm going to Terre Haute. And just being on a bus for 10 hours straight, you know, handcuffed, shackled, that was really frustrating for me, you know what I mean? Because they was going place to place picking up people, place to place picking up people. Don't care nothing about anything about you need to use the restroom, you need anything. They don't care about any of that. You feel strictly like a slave, like on a slave ship, you know what I mean? And they just, literally, I'm saying 10 hours, we probably was there 12 hours. Because remember, they keep pulling over places. Charlotte, this place, this jail, this place.
Yeah, picking up, dropping off, dropping off.
It was so frustrating, man, you know, and then when I finally got to Atlanta, you know, you know, the holding joint, then you can take showers every other day. Man, who lives like that, man? You know, who live like that? You know, all that was getting more angry, like, I got to find out how I got myself in here if I can get myself out. That was my question. How did I get myself in here? Because I know these people got out on me. I know they did, because I know the rules. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know the federal rules of civil proceeding. I didn't know the federal rules of criminal proceeding, you know?
None of us knew
none of it. And I knew they took advantage of that.
Remember, they had that book they used to sell back in our day called Busted by the Feds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you remember that book?
Got locked up, the white cover with the plain letters, but they was killing them.
Yeah.
Because they had a couple of case law, and they broke down what the case law was, and, you know what I mean, and certain other things, and, you know, that was it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Busted by the Feds. That was
Busted by the Feds. I remember that joint.
So what did you do when you got, I'm hot as hell, yo. You know what I mean? I'm hot as hell down here. But can't wait to get back to New York. But what did you do when you went into prison? Like, where did you straighten your life out?
Yeah, so when I got to Terre Haute, you know, I met this dude, my cellie, he was from Detroit. And man, this dude was a good dude, man. You're like, yo, he said, well, how much time you got, youngster? I said, life sentence. He's like, me too. I said, he said, I've been in for 5 years, you know what I mean, you know, already. I said, 5 years? Like, I'm thinking like, you know, you come in, you know what I mean, you work on your direct appeal, you know what I mean, and you fight and you get out.
And you get right out.
Yeah, he like, don't think like that, man. He said, don't think like that. He said, I done been here for 5 years, I done did my direct appeal already. He said, don't think like that. He says, it's all right, you know what I mean, but don't hope for nothing like that. So from there, I just started staying in the law library. You know what I mean, I went to the law library better than anything. I mean, I was always in the law library, 24/7. You know what I mean?
Dang. I'm just thinking about that. Oof.
Yeah.
Because you know how it was back then in Terry Hunt and all that. They wasn't nothing nice.
Nah, back in Terre Haute, man, you know, I seen, you know, a bunch of killing, you know, because this was a drug, not a drug, but a gang-infested spot. And the whole thing was, you know, Bloods, GDs, Vice Lords, Nietas, G27s, Latin Kings. The whole thing was, you know, was all gang. And at times they had, you know, riots between two gangs and so on and so forth, and people got killed and so on and so forth. You know, I was just walking, going to the law library, going on the rec yard, working out, minding my business.
Oh, that's all you could do there. You better mind your business.
Yeah, mind my business.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But tell them how crazy it is when someone else get into something, you still minding your business, but yet you still got to go fight for it or get locked up for it.
Yeah. I remember one day, you know, I was just fresh in, and I was going down the tier, and next thing you know, a door slide open, and the dude slit his wrist, man, and when he came out, it was blood shooting everywhere, and it was like his heart beating, because it was like, shh, shh. My sister said, "You better not let that blood get on you. You go into the hole."
Yeah.
When he said that, I froze. You know what I mean? And I just started backing up. And the dude was like, "Help, man! Help, man! I gotta get away from you, man! You bleed everywhere, blood shoot everywhere, man." And I was like, "Man."
He cut his wrist and he asked him for help.
And he asked him for help, man. But the crazy part is the door just slid open, and he just stepped out that joint, and the blood was just shooting everywhere. You know what I mean? And it was just, man, for a whole week I seen blood for the whole week, because I remember one time going through the metal detector. It was a trace of blood. I mean, somebody just got stabbed, and the police don't know who it is. And I'm like, man.
That's when they locked the jail down.
And they locked it down, body checks, take your shirt off. You know what I mean? They're going through the whole prison looking for the person who's bleeding. Yeah, man.
All right. So then now you in there. How you get to pro or continue to do your law work while they locked down because they trying to find a person who did this bloody shit?
You can't do nothing when they got a prison on lockdown. Only thing, if you got whatever you got in your room, it's the only thing you got. You know what I mean? They ain't making no exceptions. You know, if your case is going on, if you got a due date or anything, they ain't making no exceptions. You got to be smart, meaning that, if you got a due date, you better be writing the courts right there and telling them, of course, you're on lockdown. You don't have access to a law library, so they can get extension of time. If you don't got no knowledge like that, then you sick and you're gonna get hit, and you hit.
And that's what having so many people.
Exactly.
But they spend more time, and that was my pet peeve. More people watch this ESPN channel, you know what I mean, and the sports stuff, you know what I mean, than the news or anything. They just spend, I mean, you got guys in there, they tell them how them dudes just spend all day and every day with the ticket chasers and all that.
SubhanAllah. It was guys that stayed 24/7 in front of the TV. Meaning, I'm gonna give you an example. There's a guy in prison right now, because he stayed in front of the TV right now. When Obama came out with, he called for all the lawyers to help assist those guys that have been in jail for 10 years and better. This dude was still in front of the TV.
And never even filed it.
And he in prison right now.
When he woke up, everybody else was gone.
Exactly. Because when I got out, I was corresponding with other guys that were still in. I said, "Yo, you seen such and such?" Like, "Man, that dumb such and such, man, that dude is still, he's so retired." I'm like, "This dude stayed in front of the TV all day and will fight you for that TV. And put that knife out for you on that TV.
Oh, I know the type.
Yeah.
That's how I got you talking about it.
Yeah, you better not touch that TV and such and such. Tell me he got his show coming on such and such. But like you said, this guy that stayed in the TV room 24/7, sun up, sun down, chasing tickets, chasing games, and then also playing them games, man, chess and checkers and spades. I didn't play none of it. None of it.
Dang. All right, so when did you decide it was time to change your life?
Man, so
what was that awakening?
Yeah, so when I got to Florida, after I came from Terre Haute. This was like 2002, something like that. And I'm learning about the law. I'm learning that everything that I learned in the past from the streets was all wrong. And with dudes just talking, the feds can't do this and feds can't do this, so on and so forth. You know, as a youngster, you listen to this stuff. You listen to it. You thinking these dudes, because they're older, they got some sense, and what they're saying is the truth. Once I found out that all that stuff they were saying was all contradicted, was lies, I threw all of it away. I said, everything I learned from the past, I threw it all in trash. And I started from the bottom. And it was dudes in my unit with some good Muslim dudes. And one day I was like, hey man, I asked the dude, I said, can I read your Quran? And he just looked at me like, yeah. And next thing you know, he started talking to me, and I started asking questions. And then from there, I started going to Jumu'ah. And then when I heard the Adhan, alhamdulillah, man, that changed everything. It's like everything changed, man. And then a few weeks later, I became Muslim, man, and it's like Allah increased my iman, was my faith. I mean, and then it just kept blessing me with the understanding of the religion. And it's just like, I mean, I just seen how Allah was making things happen, man. It's like this, like, wow, man. Alhamdulillah, it was just happening.
Okay, so before Allah got in your life, you know what I mean? How did you see things, and as far as what you was doing, how do you see that? And what would you tell yourself today if you could go back to tell yourself anything about the direction you was in?
I know for a fact that chasing this dunya, chasing drugs, chasing money, trying to have all these things, that you see people have, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Because I went to prison, they gave me 2 life sentences. They wanted me to die in prison, then wake back, then die, then come back alive and do another life sentence. I mean, 1 life sentence is gonna take me out. They gave me 2 of them. And nobody in the world should put themselves in a predicament like that. This money ain't worth it. This ain't worth it at all. I spent 20 years in prison straight with people killing each other, people committing suicide, people taking medication because they can't function. Ain't worth it. Living amongst a stranger you don't even know in your room, you don't even know. He can kirk out in the day, and next thing you know, you can try to have a knife fight with you or whatever. All these things you put yourself in harm's way because you want some money. You better not go that way. You in for a rude awakening.
Because I did 26 years for that money, and all the money in the world wasn't worth them 26 years. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it 100. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm telling y'all that, man, it ain't worth it. Tell them what you're doing now. What you doing now that you got released? When did you get released, and what are you doing?
So in 2016, I got Obama gave me clemency, and from there, I was doing. Before I got released, I started a mentor program inside the prison, because the young dudes was coming in. They didn't have no sense of direction on how to move in prison, and when things happen in prison, it reflects everybody. Meaning that if one incident transpires and the police know about it, it falls back on the whole prison. So we had to teach the young dudes how, hey, when something transpires, come to your big homie and ask them for advice on how to address that issue. You just don't try to handle it on your own. And just ask for help. And the same time is, things, you ain't here now for X amount of years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. Get your GED, get some type of programming, get further your education, because when the door's open, you need a plan. You need a plan when you get out. And if you don't got no plan, you gonna fail. Plain and simple. Yeah.
100% right.
Yeah.
So now you got released.
So now I got released.
And now what are you doing?
So now what I'm doing, I have a program called Helping Young People Everywhere, and it's a mentor program. And what I do is I go to prisons, I go to universities, I go to probation offices, and I teach the guys that's coming out, how to make that transition back to the community. I speak about my past experience, hoping that my past experience will guide some people not to go down the same path that I went down. Also, I'm a community organizer, and what that does is those issues that's in the community that those people want to address. It could be from, like for right now, it's policing right now. That's one of the main things that's going around the nation, which is reform, police reform, and that's what I'm working on right now. And these are things that are important to the community. And if these things are not addressed, the things are going to keep happening over and over and over.
So explain to them how and why it's important to the community.
So the community is where we live at. Everybody live at. And this is how, when you want to make your community be good, to be good and so on and so forth, that means anything that's transpiring in your community, you got to address it. If you don't address it, then it's going to keep happening over and over and over. You got to bring the community together and say, hey, what are things that you see that's happening that you want to change? And when they say these particular things, I say, well, we as a group got to make this change. We got to go to city council. You got to speak up for yourself. If something happened in the schools, you got to speak to the school board. You got to speak up, not me. You got to speak up for your kids. You got to speak up for yourself and your family, because your voice is important, because not just mine, because I'm just the organizer. The person who's direct affected has to speak up and give the people a story on how this thing is affecting their family and their community. That's how this thing happened like that.
Okay. So now you're out here, you got that going on where you expect to go take it, you know, what's in store for you?
Well, you know, I've been doing the community organizing for now, you know, going on 4 years. And I don't got a lot of things changed. You know, I got, like, for example, in Suffolk, I got them to invest $10 million in their transportation, because their transportation didn't even make sense how they was trying to run the people in Suffolk. I also got Medicaid expansion, you know, it's an organization and with a coalition of other people to expand it, meaning to approve it, and to you know, to make sure everybody in Virginia have medical. And just one thing. I mean, it's so many things I have worked on. We worked on lowering prescription drugs. We worked on affordable vaccine when Corona first came out. I was the first one. My chapter was the first one to actually campaign about affordable vaccine, meaning because at the time they was given the impression that the corporations were going to be in charge of the vaccine. So if that was the case, that means they was going to what they call price gouging, meaning it was going to be highs on the what. So I was like, they can't never be in charge of the vaccine, because they ain't put no money up for the research and for it.
Yeah.
So I was out front about that, man, and it's a whole bunch of other things. I was out front, and I got things done. You know, I done met with all the different legislators, the governor, lieutenant governor, all out here to listen, to bring the stories of the people and let them hear them. You know, yeah.
Okay.
That's criminal expungement. You know, got this thing in it working. Another thing is for returning citizens to get their rights restored automatically. You know, these are serious things too, man.
Yeah. Okay. How did your prison bid shape your life and who you are today?
Yeah. So being in prison that long time, man, and studying, you know, I studied. So I read so much that my eyes went bad, and because learning the law, which you never been taught, is like it's so beneficial, because nobody expects you to learn the law. Now that you're a black person, you learn the law, you can defend yourself, and you speak up for yourself. People are intimidated by that. And once I seen people intimidated by that, I went even head first, more. And it just shaped me. The knowledge of the religion shaped me. The knowledge of the law shaped me to be a black, intelligent person that won't go for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I know they see me over here probably nodding off because this son hot as a mother, but I'm trying to bear with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we capping it up though. So that's where that at, man. So what you got going on, and where could they follow you at? Yeah,
so I'm on Facebook right now. You know, Tony Jones. You know, or you can find me on Instagram on Tony1 Jones. I'm just like I said, I'm a community organizer. You know, in Virginia. You know, in the Suffolk area. And you know, I'm just things just transpiring, man. I'm just showing people how to get a remedy, man. Because people, when things happen, a lot of people don't know how to get a remedy, and they get frustrated, and they don't know how to respond. But when you learn the law like I did, and you've been through some sequence of things I did, all I'm gonna do is share everything with you. You want to learn, I'm gonna teach you, and how to get things done. And believe me, I've been getting things done, campaign after campaign after campaign after campaign. I'm getting it done. It might not get done overnight, but it's getting done.
And that's what counts. That follow through.
Yeah.
Don't start mines, don't finish it. Sell me a bunch of stories. Take a little longer, but get it done.
Yeah, we get it done.
Just like you said.
Yeah.
All right, so we get ready to cap out, man. I'm down here, like I said, in Portsmouth area with one of Portsmouth's finest. He did 2 life sentences and got clemency by Obama. And now he's out here, and you just heard everything that he got going on. So there's good people out here, man, that's coming out the system, that's trying to make a change. And then you got a bunch of people that are trying to say something negative about what you're trying to do when they're not doing anything.
Yeah, and the crazy part of this is life, man, you know, going through situations, man, you're supposed to learn through other people's experiences, man. You don't supposed to sit there and think you got to figure it out already. No. When people give you advice, you know, and you know their advice, and you didn't live this particular thing, you better take it from you better sit down and listen to what they got to say, because it can save your life. It save you from going through unnecessary situations that you don't even have to go through. Yeah.
Well, it's good hollering at you, man.
All right.
Pleasure meeting you. You know what I mean? We all been in the system, but we didn't run across each other on the inside.
Yeah.
And we was out here on the street around the same time for one point.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I went first, so we didn't run across each other then, but now we know each other now on the right track. You know what I mean?
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
All right, so I'm like,
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime. Fresh out the can of 26, heat back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, you we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the youth them. Cause they the truth them, and bless up to all the root men.